Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, April the 15th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and back on the show with us, a familiar face. A couple seasons ago it was that this guy joined us on the show, probably right around this time. I think we were just getting into the playoffs or close to it, and he is back on the show with us today. It's been a long time since we've seen our old friend Stephen Fournier joining us here on the show. Stephen, what's going on? How have you been?
Hey, how's it going, boys? Thanks for having me out, first of all. Good, man. Busy in the rinks all day, trying to raise the skill level of the youth, teach them how to teach them how to chip pucks out of the zone and pick up rims.
Yeah, all the shit they don't want to do. All the shit that matters most. Yeah, the little things, exactly. You got to ingrain that in their brains if they're going to be the kind of player we all want them to be, complete player. So Stephen Fournier is looking for the next Bedard right now, in his midst right now, from a coaching standpoint. We'll see if he can find one. But yeah, just before we get into some NHL talk, man, just talk about a little life update for you. You know, how have things been the last couple of years? What have you been up to, and what are you doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the last time we spoke, I was still a player assistant coach in Wichita. I ended up heading over to Cardiff in England after that. Did the same role over there. And then, I decided after 12 years or 11 years, whatever it was time to kind of pack it in. I came back to Quebec City last year, kind of jumped right into coaching right away. Was assistant coach at a college last year, then took up a head coaching job at a prep school this year, and then all the while, me and my partner, ex-NHLer PC Labrie, we opened a development company where we had maybe about 20 NHL guys last year. You know, the rink, the turf, and the gym is all in the same facility, so it kind of, streamlined kids to want to come with us. We had 32 major junior kids, 18 midget AAA, and then, that's it, man, just spending my time where I'm happy, out in the rinks. So,
yeah, someone's asking about Stephen. Stephen Fournier was captain of the Halifax Mooseheads back in the day. Played with the one and only Nathan McKinnon a long time ago. How long ago, man, does that feel like right now? The Halifax days.
You know what? The second that things come around to playoff times, it kind of seems like yesterday. But in the thick of it in the winter, when it's dark at 4 p.m. and you're lugging around, it feels like it's forever ago. But it's funny, we actually stayed in touch. He wanted to have me out to a game a couple months back. I got to see him at the Four Nations. I was at the game against Sweden, the opening game, and to be able to see what he's done so far in his NHL career is I knew that was going to happen, but it's great to see it come to fruition.
Yeah, no, that was cool. Talk about that just for a sec. The Four Nations experience. How awesome was it to be in the building there at the Bell Center for that tournament? Do we lose him? He's right there from the rink. He's coaching at 2:30, by the way. That's why he's coming to us from the rink. But we'll see if we can get Steph's camera, I should say, back on. But yeah, to be at that Four Nations face-off would have been absolutely an incredible experience. I'm sure I'll try to pop back on in a sec. But great to be here. A good time now as Stephen attempts to reconnect, to remind everybody it's a Betcast Tuesday. It's a free-for-all Betcast Tuesday. It's open to the public. We're excited about it. And again, we're looking forward to it tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, this is one where you email or DM me or Alex for a spot on the Betcast, with it being a free-for-all Betcast, and we will send you the link before it begins for sure. So make sure you check that out. He did play for the Lewiston Maniacs as well. Good call there by our guy, Boogan Jazz. Yes, he was a Lewiston Maniac as well.
Sorry, boys.
My
brother tried giving me a call, and it washed me out. Here, I'm gonna go sit outside. I'll have a little more peace. The arena's a busy spot right now.
Sure. Yeah, I know. You got the Zambonis and everything running in the back. Hey, it's worse with some of these NHL press conferences. They're trying to interview the players and the coaches, and you hear skates start. Did you not get them in a quiet space? My goodness, yeah.
See you, Brody. Good job today, buddy.
To be honest with you, though, man, the background noise for you is not even close to as bad in comparison to what I hear with the NHL teams. So, talking NHL for a bit because we got you for 20 minutes. We always start with a recap of last night. You're obviously there in the Montreal area, and of course, the big story of the night was Montreal's game trying to clinch the playoff spot. They were not able to. Chicago thwarts them and gets a 4-3 shootout win. One of the craziest fucking things I've ever seen in that game was the Frank Nazar shootout goal that he knew it was in. And the bench didn't believe him. The Chicago bench, they didn't really see it go in or didn't think it was in. And they're like, nice try. And he's like, what are you talking about, you guys? I scored just now. And it was that's what he was saying after the game. Nobody knew the puck went in, and it ended up right in the shelf of the net. So no one really saw the puck there. And then they had to review it after Montreal made the next shootout attempt, Lionel. And only then did they find out it was a goal. But Chicago wins. They keep Montreal clinching. The story of the night was obviously Ivan Demidov. Just what a spectacular debut it was. Goal and an assist in the first period. Stefan, what were your thoughts just watching him in particular in his first game?
Look, in the first period, when you get to see a talent like that come in, obviously, he's getting a standing ovation and warm-up, standing ovation every time he touches the puck. You know that his adrenaline's going to be pumping. The kid's super exciting. He's dynamic. He's obviously got a lot of pressure on him, given the being a high draft pick with Montreal, and people are looking at him. His contract even has I think a $500,000 Conn Smythe bonus in it. So a kid like that's obviously going to come in. He's going to come out hot. I'm really glad for him that he got a chance to come in, get the monkey off of his back. The game itself, I feel like Montreal has also probably spent a lot of energy over the last, 8 to 10 games. They were on a 6-game winning streak.
They do. They look like they're running on fumes a little bit, Montreal, these last few games. I would agree. It's a good assessment.
Maybe they thought that they would be able to kind of cruise in against a team like Chicago, but at this time of the year, guys are always playing for something, right? So you got guys on Chicago that are sitting there going like, hey, I'm playing for my job next year, which, sometimes they know that the end is near. Well, they know the end is near, and, they're willing to really burn the gas until empty, right? So it sucks that, they had to lose the way they did. It would have been nice to obviously see them clinch. But at the same token, it was nice to see Demidov come in. The shootout goal at the end is obviously, it's a strange one. Like, would you sit there and say that Laine gets a second shot after? Or
right.
Even in my mind, I thought it was a little bit surprising. Not that I have anything against Laine. Obviously, he's a premier goal scorer, but
he's getting a lot of shit from Habs fans because they say last night he was losing puck battles, was kind of not hard enough on the. I mean, if you watch this guy for most of his career, that's what you're going to get some nights. Whereas the compete level is not high enough.
He's going to be able to put one right where Mama hides the cookies, right?
Yeah.
So.
But they live with it because of the shot and the power play prowess. Exactly, 100%.
I thought it was interesting they didn't put in Demidov, especially in his first game. They're going, but then again, all of a sudden he scores the winner in that, and then the pressure of the world's on him, right? He comes back, maybe has 1 or 2 games where he doesn't score, and he's reading every Twitter comment about him that's telling him to go back to Russia, right? So,
Montreal, when that happened, one game, get your ass back to Russia. You stink. Yeah, that kind of.
So
he had a good debut for that reason.
It's obviously a special market, but I think that the kid is he's primed for success. So and the organization as a whole is also it's been great hockey to watch them this year. So.
And they're doing it the right way. They didn't rush this rebuild.
Nope.
They obviously drafted extremely well, especially in the case of Lane Hudson, because there were teams that put him on their do not draft list because of the size, because of the, just a small defenseman. They didn't want any part of him. But Montreal was willing to not look at that narrow-minded way of thinking and look past it and see the skill set, the hands, the vision, the passing, and just the magic. The puck is on a string half the time when he's got the puck on the stick. And Habs saw something incredibly gifted in his skill set and still said, you know what, fuck the fact he's small and he's not that tall. We're going to take him. We think he can be a dynamo defenseman. Like I said, I credit to Jimmy Murphy, our longtime friend of the show, and his colleague on the Eye Test podcast, Jeremy Wire. Those two guys stuck up for Lane Hudson all this time, saying he's going to be a big-time player at the NHL level, and he's showing that. Right.
Well, that's it. I mean, I would put him at the front runner of the Calder race right now, obviously. it's you know what, a team like Montreal, there's a lot of stuff I think that casual hockey fans don't understand as far as salary cap and I don't know if you guys can still hear me.
Oh yeah, you're good. You're good.
Obviously taxes, stuff like that. So, I feel like that they really built the team from the ground up. You have guys like, what's his name? I'm skipping a beat right now. The forward that just re-signed for less money. You got Caulfield that's there. People are really embracing the market because there's probably nothing more special that you could have than winning in Montreal, right? So, or winning in Toronto. So if you're on one of those original 6 teams, it's maybe a little tougher to bring in high market free agents, but they did it the right way. It took a little bit of extra time, but I feel like that they're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I think you're maybe thinking of Jake Evans, right?
Yeah, Jake Evans, exactly.
Jake Evans, yeah, he's the one that comes to mind as the guy they just recently signed.
Yeah, it's him.
Good depth player. You need that guys like that, no question, in your lineup. Alex, your thoughts on that game? Obviously, your Hawks were involved.
Yeah,
it ended up being a highly entertaining game.
Well, and it was a fascinating game, and everybody was obviously energetic and arriving for Demidov. Like I said, you saw how him getting on the ice, getting his rookie skate, and like I said, everybody was standing ovation. Everybody, it looked like everybody was already in their seats for the game that early. You don't see that often in any NHL arena, so that's just how jazzed up they were at Bell Center, and that energy carried over into the game. Him getting a goal and assist right away, and he looks like he belongs in the NHL right away. Now he's going to have his growing pains, of course, but to do that and in such a big spot for the team, where it's a night where you could clinch a playoff spot, for him to show up and deliver that early in the contest, that's huge. But at the same time, like I said, they've been playing playoff hockey for about 2-3 weeks now. So it's kind of catching up with them. They're going to have those, just like in the playoff series. You're going to lose a game. You're going to have a clunker in a series, potentially. That was their clunker in a playoff series, essentially. And then the Hawks played well. The Hawks battled back. As you mentioned, guys are playing for their jobs. You look at how the guys left off the bench and celebrated with Arvid Soderblom at the end of that contest. You would have thought that he hit some kind of milestone in his career, but I'm sure that had to be the fact of, he may be a guy who either he sticks around or he possibly could be going elsewhere. And if so, he's battled the last 3 years with a lot of these guys, and that might be their farewell to him. So you have those moments with some of these teams, especially we talk about game 81, game 82. These bad teams, you couldn't trust them for 4 months. Here they are now rallying to play with a little bit of purpose. So there's a good back and forth. And the thing about Laine, like Habs fans have to take it easy on him. You don't ask a bulldozer to water flowers. This guy is there to score goals and give you points. He's not there to do the dirty work. Like I said, he's not there to hit somebody in the corners and chip and make those plays and block shots. That's not what you got him for. You got him to be a goal scorer. So, yes, you want him to score goals, but don't get mad when he's not playing that hard defensively or back check.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let's hope that the temperature of the room changes once we hit playoffs and stuff too. Right?
Sure.
So,
certainly.
But it was a good game. I mean, look, they still got a point. It's I wish that they would have clinched, but it gives us some exciting hockey now going into the next 2 days.
Well, we have a live betcast tonight, Steph, and I'll tell you what, it's better for our betcast. Now we got games that matter. Now Columbus, this game matters for them tonight when we're going to be on the air. And, of course, Minnesota, St. Louis, and Calgary still up for grabs, the playoff spots there for the 2 wild cards. So we've got meaningful games tonight, which is the good thing for
Where are you guys doing your live betcast, man? I might have to jump on.
Yeah, right here. Oh, yeah.
Right here on
if
the
you want to join us, you're welcome, of course. Yeah. It's 7 p.m. Eastern right till the end of the night. Tonight. So we're looking forward to that. And there's, like I said, a lot of good games coming up on tap. Just a couple more from the games last night. Detroit beats Dallas 6-4. I mean, every game last night, by the way, except for the 2 late games, went over the total. Only LA, Edmonton, and San Jose, Vancouver stayed under. So there were a lot of goals last night. Not much defense being played. Dallas, Detroit. Dallas has clinched their spot, and obviously they know they're playing Colorado in the first round. Detroit's out, so not a lot of defensive intensity there. Red Wings win 6-4. Rangers beat this was a surprise. Rangers beating the Panthers 5-3. Florida now, it kind of makes this game almost like they could still technically catch Tampa, but it's almost impossible now. They'd have to win out, and Tampa can't get any points. And I think Florida's got to win their remaining games. But Rangers 5-3, they beat the Panthers. Utah smashes Smashville, if you will. 7-3 last night. Utah beats Nashville, so we get the best bet for me on the show with Utah-Nashville over in that game. Vancouver beat San Jose 2-1 in overtime. Macklin Celebrini gets the one and only goal for San Jose back home in Vancouver, but that was the only highlight there. Kings lock up home ice advantage in the first round against Edmonton with that 5-0 win. But really the headline event of that game was what Darnell Nurse did. It was just stupidity in his part. And I hate to say that. I mean, Stephen Fournier played 2 seasons here in Hamilton, my hometown with the Bulldogs. And, of course, I cheer and I support my Hamilton athletes. And Darnell Nurse from Hamilton, I can't defend him for that last night. That's awful. Just driving his stick right into the head of Quentin Byfield when he was down on the ice like that. He got 5 in a game. Now, will he get a suspension on top of that? We'll have to wait and see. But it's not just him doing that. It's taking a breath and realizing your team's situation if you're Darnell Nurse. You're already without Matthias Ekholm on your blue line, your best defenseman for at least the first round. You can't afford to get suspended. You can't afford to be missing games, potentially, in the first round series against the LA Kings. So it was just, not only was it, ridiculous, reckless, and not good as far as, could have hurt somebody like Byfield in that spot, but it was stupid as far as you may be hurting your team. You're already without Ekholm. What if you get suspended and you're missing games against the Kings? So really, really ridiculous nonsense, Alex, last night from Darnell Nurse there.
Yeah, absolutely. You just don't take that kind of an approach when you said your team is already shorthanded, and just you don't do that. You just don't do something that dirty, right? And that's the thing though. I didn't get on the show yesterday, of course, but one thing I want to talk about with that game, you have these times where you have matchups that line up where teams playing a team they're going to see right now, next week or later on in the playoffs. It's kind of a game zero setup. It's more of an old school thing where, you maybe hit a guy a little harder, take a little extra liberties to make them feel a little pain and let them know, hey, we're coming after you for game 1 and beyond when it starts, when the playoffs start. So that may have been kind of a little message sending, but you have to be careful with that because, one, you don't want to seriously injure somebody and you don't want to get suspended and put your team behind the 8 ball, especially with how banged up Edmonton has been going into the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt.
I definitely don't think it was the smartest move. I know that I was listening to comments by Phil Deneau at the end of the game or in between.
Yeah, that's very interesting. He said they put their B squad out there to hurt us.
Squad, look, that's an old school mentality. Obviously, I've played on teams like that, but there's still a fine line of where and what you're willing to do without. Without putting your team at a deficit, especially once the playoffs start, right? So. Maybe he didn't have much long-term thinking into his decision-making. He's there on the ice. He's going, okay, I'm going to teach these guys a lesson. But, you kind of, when you're making, what's he making, 9.5? Like, you're not the guy that's out there to teach lessons. Like, you should be out there playing hard. But, and the last thing Darnell Nurse needs is to have his name dragged through the mud like last year during the playoff series, right? Imagine he comes in now and he's suspended the first 2 games or whatever the case may be. It's, in an all-around situation. I know that his intentions aren't going to – nobody's out there on the ice that I know that's still playing that's like, I'm going to hurt this guy.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, it rarely happens. People might get caught up in the moment or make a mistake or an error in judgment. But
you get lost in the emotion for just a second, and that's when that shit happens. Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope for him. Obviously, nothing happens, but I hope that we don't see plays like that anymore. It kind of reminded me of Hartman at the beginning of the year when he took that 10-gamer, and it's if that's the precedent that's set on a play like that, it's going to be difficult for him to get in those first games of the series.
Yeah, no, that's a good comparison. Obviously, right to what happened with $9.25 million for Darnell Nurse. So it's a big time contract right there. That he's getting right now. And yeah, you don't want to be doing that shit right before the playoffs. And you're right about the Deneau comment. In the intermission, he was asked about it, and he said, they're putting out their B team to hurt us tonight. And then Corey Perry claps back saying, well, what the fuck else do you want us to do? We've got a bunch of guys hurt right now. And we're trying to get people healthy and rested for the game 1. So that was his kind of clap back, if you will, at Philip Deneau in the post-game comments last night. So the temperature's but I love all this. The temperature is ratcheting up, folks, for game 1 between the Oilers, and as it should. It's the fourth friggin' season in a row that these two teams are facing each other in the first round.
Yeah,
There should be some bad blood.
temperature is ratchet, Ian.
Yeah. So I'm definitely more amped to this. I was not very interested about LA Edmonton last year in the playoff. This year I am. This year that's actually probably top 2 or 3 series I'm most excited about in the first round. When
we talk about how rivalries have kind of dissipated in the league over the years, but to see now potentially we're going to have Battle of Ontario, Battle of Florida, and now Edmonton, LA for a 4th straight year. We're getting some of these rivalries back, and I love it. It's great for the game.
No doubt it is. And Jonathan's saying something will happen with Darnell Nurse because he does have a hearing apparently with NHL player safety.
Hearings are usually 5 games, right?
Yeah,
at least. Was it in person or is it telephone?
Yeah, is it telephone or in person? You're right. There is a difference.
Yeah, but if it's in person, I think it's at least 5 games. So
in person 5. In person is 5 minimum, and over the phone is 4 or less.
I think you're right on spot on with that. So there could be some supplemental.
Either way, that's significant.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Steph's got to run in a couple of minutes. So before we let him go, we're not going to be able to go game by game through the Tuesday card with him, but he does have a couple things that he likes here on the board here for this Tuesday. So tell us about it here, Steph. What do you like here tonight?
I'll give you my two Steph Fournier hot picks of the day. All right.
Here we go. Best bets. Here we go. Get the best bet cam up. There we go.
Mine right now -1.5 Columbus. I think that given everything that they've gone through this season and the off season, they're gonna keep biting and chewing until the end. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're up by 1 and then pot in the empty net. So -1.5 makes sense to me there. And my other one is Long Island at Washington. I think that Washington might lay off the gas a little bit, knowing that they're going into the playoffs with probably the top record in the Eastern Conference, and a team that's run by Patty Roy and Lou Lamoriello. That they're not going to give up until the end either. So I know they're hot takes, but it might be better live betting the -1.5 by the time it gets to the empty net goals, but. I think that those are my two takes from the night right now.
There you go. And those are both, by the way, if you agree with both of those, Columbus puck line -1.5 and New York Islanders puck line -1.5 tonight. Those are both great puck prices, obviously. So you're going to get plus money on both of those. Steph Fournier is Steph's puck line. He's taking Jimmy Murphy's old role on the show. Islanders and Blue Jackets, both on the puck line. What I like about Steph with the Columbus opinion is that if you're going to take Columbus, you should take them either puck line or in regulation because they have to win in regulation tonight if they're going to keep their playoff hopes alive. So it makes sense. If you like Columbus pregame, take them in either -1.5 puck line or in regulation. Steph, good to see you, my friend. I know you got to get back to coaching. I will say one thing before you leave here. Make sure you bag skate the fuck out of those little bastards.
Oh,
okay?
Dude, they're not allowed. They're not allowed scooping pucks or doing any of that fancy shit. I tell them right away. I would have taken a nice stick and slashed all your teeth out. So, listen, guys, thank you very much for having me out on the show. And Ian, I'm gonna send you a message a little later about joining that. I might want to come and watch the live pod tonight and see what you guys are up to.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome.
Give me some money, baby. Let's go.
Hey, we've been doing that. We're pretty good with the live betting stuff. This guy next to me, Alex, is a next goal savant here. He's got just a great beat on that. The momentum and flow of the game and who's going to get the next goal.
There's the time of year for that, too. So
we found this great angle. Second period overs when the first period had a shut was scoreless. It's been cashing like crazy. So, we'll talk about it later and get you on the bet.
Well, thank you, boys. I appreciate it. The old man's got to go and strap up his skates again. Take it easy, boys.
All right.
Cheers.
Teach those kids a lesson. Yeah.
I will. Take care, guys.
See you, my friend. There you go. Stephen Fournier with us here on the Ice Guys show. Good stuff. Good to have him back. It's been a while. Too long. He had been playing over in Europe, though, and I think he got married, too, and he's going to have become a dad very soon. As well. So he'd been busy, but good to see him back. It had been too long, a couple of years ago when he was on the show. So good to see him, and he might be on the Betcast later on. All right, let's get into Tuesday and this big Tuesday card on this Betcast Tuesday, which, of course, we're looking forward to tonight. Will begin. Well, we talked Chicago-Montreal last night. Chicago back in action tonight taking on the Ottawa Senators. We've got Ottawa minus 280, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game tonight. I like this. We talked about this with Ottawa, the last game against Philly. You look at it, you do expect goals to be scored here. Now, we are going to get Spencer Knight, and we do like Spencer Knight here for Ottawa in net, as they went with Soderblom last night, saving Spencer Knight for this game. But Ottawa's in a place right now where, most likely going to get the Battle of Alberta. Anton Forsberg going to get another start for them. They're being cautious down the stretch here with Linus Ullmark, who's going to be obviously their Stanley Cup playoff starter. Spencer Knight in net for Chicago. And it looks like from an Ottawa standpoint here in this game, there is a lot of players not suiting up tonight, and it is worth noting. We've got Brady Tkachuk still out. Not a surprise there. We've got Jake Sanderson for the Ottawa Senators also out tonight. Nick Jensen on the blue line out tonight. Claude Giroux for the Ottawa Senators sitting out tonight for this game as well. David Perron, he sat out Sunday. Will he be back tonight? A game time decision for him, and same with Ridley Gregg here for the Ottawa Senators. So you do have a lot of situations here where you've got a lot of people sitting here for the Ottawa Senators tonight. Chicago played hard last night. They got the big win against Montreal. Don't love that it's a back-to-back, but this is a one-way game for me. Either take a shot with the plus price with Chicago, or you pass the game. There's just no way with Ottawa given showing their cards here and who's going to sit in this game that you can endorse the Ottawa Senators here at this price. I'm going to bet Chicago, but I'm going to do it in the first period to score a goal. This has been, we're not quite at that minus 300 favorite price range here for Ottawa to make it that automatic, trigger, to bet that, but it's close enough. And we expect, on the back-to-back, the legs still to be pretty live for Chicago early in the game. Maybe they fade later in the game. So, to be able to take Chicago first period to score a goal at a reasonable, we're looking at minus 125, minus 130. I think that's a good bet there as the Blackhawks here to get a goal in the opening period. And like I said, I think in this particular situation, they might be able to hang around for the game, given Ottawa sitting out some guys. But I'm just, at least pregame, I'm going to just go with Chicago to score in the first period and over by Fecta here as well. Alex, what do you think? Blackhawks, Senators.
So I like Chicago to score in the first in this spot as well. Minus 125 is a decent number. I also like both teams to score in the first period pregame, and then I'll be looking for the over by effect end game because I'm seeing as high as minus 150 for that first period over. Yep. So I think we can definitely wait and have that drop down. This is one I don't even feel like we need to take the goal in first 5 minutes for cushion. I think this could be a slower start. I wish this game was tomorrow for the simple fact that we would have had a day off potentially in between with a lot of young guys off of a win in Montreal of all cities. That would have been a spot to maybe take Ottawa, but the fact that it's back to back, I'm sure still kind of business mode, wrap up the season, of course, and then they can go on their way from there. So I don't know about taking the Hawks money line pregame. That's something I might look for, in game if we see the pace carry over and I was not really interested, then there may be some spots to grab stuff that's Hawks related, but definitely going with the over trifecta, bifecta in game. Both teams to score in the first period pregame, along with the Hawks to score in the first period.
Yeah, no doubt. So, like I said, I don't trust Chicago for the full game, but like I said, the first period, I think they'll score. And I think it's going to be one of those loose atmospheres. We saw it kind of with Philly and Ottawa over the weekend. And there are some props worth mentioning. Shout out to Brewski, who sent me this incredible, of all players that are looking for the milestone tonight. He basically sent me, player milestones and players that are looking for milestone numbers with most teams tonight. And certainly for Ottawa, Brady Tkachuk's not playing, though, but he posted 29 goals. But the one that stands out to me for Ottawa is Zetterlund. Zetterlund needs 1 goal for 20. Plus 240 is about the best price you can find for him to score a goal tonight. I think that's a good look. He's playing with Stützle on the top line. Maybe you look at Parlay Pinto maybe as well. For the Ottawa Senators. For Chicago, obviously we know Donato's had a great season, but Frank the Tank Nazar, it's difficult not to bet him to score a goal right now with what we have seen for the Chicago Blackhawks. So those are a couple of the props I'm interested in there with that. All right, on we go to Columbus and Philadelphia. This is one of the pertinent games taking place tonight with obviously Columbus needing a regulation win to stay alive in the Stanley Cup playoff race. We've got Columbus minus 145 road favorites in this game, the total 6 pretty much across the board. If you are going to take Columbus in this game and you're going to, and if you think they win, and obviously the door has been opened ever so slightly because of Montreal losing in a shootout to the Chicago Blackhawks tonight, then you must bet them in regulation because you're going to get a better price. And if this game is tied late in the third period, the Jackets are pulling their goaltender. It's that simple because they have to get it done in 60 minutes here tonight to keep their playoff hopes alive. No, so I know some people were thinking Merzlikins is going to start, and I've said there's no way he's starting. They've kept their faint hopes alive with this mini little win streak with Jet Greaves in between the pipes. They are not going to deviate from that. You're not going to see Merzlikins again until they're knocked out. Maybe you'll see him in the final game if they're eliminated before then. But until then, it's Jet Greaves time, and it should be because this guy has been really good. He's given them a chance to win every night. He played very solid back-to-back over the weekend against the Washington Capitals, giving up just 1 goal in those 2 games combined. So credit to Jet Greaves. He's played well. I know he's got a very happy former teammate in Ray Bryce, another friend of the show, who was texting the other day to me that how happy he is for Jet Greaves. They played at Kalamazoo in the East Coast League. It tells you how far Jet Greaves has come, to be in the NHL. Started in the ECHL, has worked his way up, and certainly he has played very well down the stretch here for Columbus. I took Columbus in regulation pregame for a small bet with the intention of adding more to that if Philadelphia gets a lead at any point during the game, which I'll bet live during the betcast if that happens. Because, Columbus is not going away tonight. This is their season on the line. So even if Philly gets the lead, Columbus is throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, you would think, at Philadelphia here. So the intention is to maybe get an even better regulation price with Columbus should they fall behind. And for that reason, I'm only taking a small piece of them here pregame in this one. Jackets and Flyers. Jet Greaves, of course, for Columbus, and it's Samuel Ersson getting the start here tonight for Philadelphia. Alex, what do you think here? Jackets, Flyers.
So we talk about, the next goal to score props. This is a game I just have circled with that. I'm not betting anything at all pregame, and I'm looking to see where the pace of play goes in betting goals because, like I said, this is a game where you can't afford to have overtime at all if you're Columbus. So that changes the whole dynamic. You could look for, and I haven't checked this. I'm sure these numbers have to be inflated. The third period overlooks. You could look at maybe some alternate totals with that 2.5. 3 flat at a BetMGM. So you can get maybe creative with those things, but I'm just going to be looking more for live action. But that's the way I would be looking for anything pregame. Stack stuff toward the third period because we know more than likely it's going to be chaos. Unless it's 7-0 Philly, which who's expecting that to happen? There's going to be some kind of craziness and chaos late in this contest. So that's just kind of what we're looking for.
Bobby Brink, 1 point away from 40. For Philly, that could be a target for player props. And we got a bunch for Columbus. Now, Columbus is more focused on the team stuff, obviously, and that's winning the hockey game and winning it in regulation, no question. But at the same point in time, you do have Adam Fantilli at 29 goals, 1 shy of 30. Sean Monahan, 19 goals, 1 shy of 20. Matthew Olivier, 18 goals, 1 shy of 2 shy, I should say, of 20 goals. So, they all could get to milestones here in the last 2 games. I think that is definitely something to look at there. You could look at Olivier, Monahan, Fantilli. As far as goal props tonight are concerned, Paling to get a point because Paling's got 18 assists and he's done a good job scoring. Forster's been on a roll for Philadelphia. Jacob Pelletier finally starting to come to the forefront, get opportunities as well of late for the Philadelphia Flyers. That's the guy they got in the Calgary trade that sent Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee to the Flames. And back the other way came Jacob Pelletier. And Jacob Pelletier has played well here these last few games. I think that's a little sleeper goal prop tonight as well. Pelletier for the Philadelphia Flyers. All right, Toronto Maple Leafs and Buffalo Sabres. 1 point is all that's needed for the Toronto Maple Leafs to clinch the Atlantic Division title. And the 1 point can be either tonight or Thursday when they wrap up the season against Detroit. We've got the Leafs minus 150. Road favorites, 6.5 the total. Now, we have talked about these Leaf Sabres matchups for years and how every time Buffalo seems to bring their best against Toronto. So I'm sure it's not going to be the easiest of tasks for the Toronto Maple Leafs here against this Buffalo team to clinch the division, but they only need 1 point. That being said, Toronto's kind of turned the tide finally against this Buffalo team. They've won 4 straight, and the 2 meetings this year were a 5-3 win at home and a 6-3 win in Buffalo back in December. So, long-term, Buffalo's been a thorn in Toronto's side, but lately the Leafs have done a nice job as far as, playing this Buffalo team better and not letting the Sabres, have that same kind of success they previously had. Now, for Buffalo, they finished the season at home against Philly. And I always say this is important to keep an eye on these spots where you've got teams with their final home game. You see teams step up and try to play a good game and win that game, even if they're not in the playoffs. But Buffalo does finish the season at home against Philly. They've got one more. But that being said, this is Toronto, this division rival. Many Sabre players have talked about it. They don't like it that the Leafs fans invade KeyBank Center and take it over, obviously, when they play there. So I'm sure you're going to get an inspired effort from Buffalo. I'm kind of leaning Buffalo, but plus 130, I don't think I like that price enough. I like the draw here. I do. I think it's a good draw spot. Toronto only needs 1 point. Toronto only needs 1 point. And I love these situations. We're going to get to this later with Minnesota. We're going to get to this later with St. Louis. I love these spots with the draw where teams, every point is crucial. Every point is valuable. And in Minnesota's case, they only need 1 point to clinch their playoff spot, which makes the draw a very appealing bet. Toronto only needs 1 point. That's it. They could lose in overtime or regulation, but as long as they get the game to overtime or a shootout, as long as they get the game to overtime, they're Atlantic Division champions tonight. So I think the draw is a good shot here tonight. I expect Buffalo to give Toronto a tough game, especially at home where the Sabres have played very well. I mean, you look at Buffalo at home, Alex. 3-0 win against Carolina, 6-3 win against Boston, 3-2 win against Tampa, 7-3 win against Pittsburgh. They beat Edmonton and Vegas at home recently as well, this Buffalo team. They played very well at home. I don't think they're going to make this a cupcake game for the Leafs. They'll give the Leafs a battle, and I think the draw is a really good bet here in this one. Alex, what do you think here, Leafs, Sabres?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go against the zombie Sabres, right? As soon as they're actually dead, then they wake up and come to life, and then they beat all these good teams, and they just can't figure out how to do that for the first 70 games of this season, it seems. So, yeah, it looks like a dog and draw split for me. I'm heavier on the draw, plus 340. Like I said, Toronto only needs the point, so there's definitely a game. If it's tied, there's no reason for them to press. Get your point, get your spot, and move on. So yeah, this is definitely a dog draw split pregame, and then we'll look for stuff live.
Yeah, same with the totals. I'm not betting totals pregame here. Toronto's defending well, so I'm a little gun shy of overs in this spot. They're defending really, really well. They're playing that playoff style right now down the stretch, and shut out Montreal. 1 goal allowed against Carolina. Really like the way they've been defending. They've been an under machine lately too, the Toronto Maple Leafs. 1-2. I'm just counting it up. 7-1 is the run for Toronto. 7-1 to the under in their last 8 games. So playing with that kind of style, like I said, maybe we'll touch the totals live in game. We could always get a slow start, and we get obviously maybe that second period over system play if it's scoreless after the first period. But yeah, and plus, by the way, Toronto and Buffalo have been strong second period over teams. So it's from that standpoint, yeah, like I said, I'm not touching any totals pregame. We're going to wait for the betcast.
We'll probably be hammering that second period over if this one's scoreless. So.
Yeah, which I have a feeling it could be. It could be, I think, a scoreless or 1-0 type of first period. That would not shock me here in this game. As far as props go for this game, for Toronto, we do have a couple milestone situations to be aware of. Matthew Nyes for the Leafs needs 1 goal for 30. John Tavares needs 2 goals for 40. And what a season that would be for him to get to 40 goals, considering people thought his best days offensively were behind him. So John Tavares goal prop makes a lot of sense. Matthew Nyes as well. A 30-goal season for him would be great. Anthony Stolarz and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen are going to be the goaltenders, by the way, in this game. By the way, Owen Power shut down for the season. Of course, Norris was shut down a while ago. Ekman Larsson, Kampf, and McCabe still out for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Of course, they all did not play over the weekend, but they will be in the lineup here tonight. But Tavares, I like goal prop for Toronto. Nyes as well. milestone numbers that they're trying to get to as well. So those are worth a look here. Max Domi with Tavares and Nylander. If I had more faith in Max scoring, but it is definitely value with him being up on the second line tonight for Toronto. And then up front for Buffalo, Paterka has been really good, really heating up. Don't mind taking a shot there with him. Jack Quinn has had a weird, uncanny ability to score against Toronto for some reason. So Jack Quinn might be worth a look. The mighty Quinn, Jack Quinn. And then, those are the two I like the most. McLeod, we talked about how he's been a good point machine as well. Marner, 1 point from 100, Jonathan, yes, but obviously no bargain to bet that point prop. You're going to have to put it in some kind of parlay. Alex Tuck as well. Yep, good call. He's been rolling lately for Buffalo as well. All right, next up, we've got the Battle of Florida, which we are ultimately likely going to see next week when the Stanley Cup playoffs begin as well. We've got the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. How about Tampa Bay laying minus 190 here in this game? The total 5.5 across the board. It's probably a question of when, not if, the Lightning have home ice advantage in that first round series in the Battle of Florida against the Florida Panthers. Of course, the matchup here, this is ESPN, by the way, with Mr. Wischusen and company tonight. Andrei Vasilevsky in net for the Lightning. We expect Vitek Vanacek on the back-to-back to be in net for the Florida Panthers, although that's not quite confirmed yet, but we'd certainly expect that. Still missing pieces, though, for Florida. Lundell, Luostarinen, Marchand, Mikkola, Samaskevich, Ekblad. We'll have to see how many of these players are actually in the lineup. I think Florida is almost at the point where there's like, Tampa, we'll let you have home ice advantage in the first round for the sake of keeping ourselves as healthy and fresh as possible for the opening round of the Stanley Cup playoffs in a series that is likely going to be very physical, you would think, between these two rivals where there's not a lot of love lost. So definitely would make all the sense in the world. And that's a great great point by Rich. 7th game in 11 days for this Florida Panthers team. So it's another reason why. Do you really want to go balls to the wall, pedal to the metal? I really don't think they want to do that here in this game. Tampa had lost back-to-back home games in overtime to the Red Wings and Leafs, but they bounced back. They beat Buffalo 7-4 in their last game. We'll see how they fare here tonight. Certainly is an advantageous spot here for Tampa Bay in this one. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to take them in a split here, a split of Tampa and Reg, a rare in regulation bet for yours truly. A Tampa Bay in regulation minus 112, and a little bit on that team total for Tampa Bay over 3.5 at around plus 116 is the price there. So, and again, with Vanacek and net, I'm happy to take my chances that Tampa Bay can score 4 goals here in this game. So that's the pregame moves for me. Tampa in regulation, minus 112, and team total over 3.5, plus 116. Alex, Panthers, Lightning.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that team total for Tampa over as well, and then I'm going to wait for the over by Fecta in game. You could play a little bit small at minus 115 for each, but I think we'll go heavier with plus money on both of those into the contest. Now, just kind of looking around to see who Florida was going to have kind of in their lineup. This could be one of those, just like we saw with Edmonton, LA last night, one of those kind of game zero type of deals, especially knowing that it's a physical series, especially knowing that Florida, all of their key guys, like, are out. Maybe bring up some thumpers and have them kind of maybe run and hit some of these Tampa Bay guys a little harder than usual. Get ready for it. Yeah, you're going to get home ice, but like I said, we're coming through, and it's going to be a long series. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. I think it's going to be a physical one. I think there will be goals. I think Tampa gets a lot of chances maybe to score on the power play. So if you're looking at player props, any of the power play catalysts to get a point would be something I'd be dabbling in as well.
Yep, definitely. So there are definitely some some good looks here as far as this game goes. Like I said, we expect Vanacek and net for the Florida Panthers here in this game. The main players of note here as far as taking a look at milestones here moving forward, we do have a few. In fact, we've got Gensel and Point that need one more point for 80. So very interesting to see if they get that. Reinhart needs 1 goal to get 40. So Reinhart would make some sense on the Florida side. No question about that. We'll see if they're able to make an impact. Florida, again, their lines are juggled like crazy. So right now, as of right now, it's Verhaeghe, Barkov, and Reinhart. on the top line. Rodriguez, Bennett, and if it's Rodriguez and Boquist with Bennett, there's definitely going to be value with Rodriguez and Boquist on the Florida side. For Tampa Bay, Yanni Gourde up on the top line with Point and Kucherov. There's still great value for Yanni as far as being able to score here for Tampa Bay. Hagel, Sorelli, Gensel. Connor Geekie scored against Buffalo. I know Jonathan suggested maybe a Geekie Brothers parlay for the betcast tonight. Connor did score against Buffalo on Sunday. Yep. Connor Geekie for Tampa Bay. So maybe look in that direct. Nick Paul. And don't sleep on this Gage Gonsalves. This guy's really starting to all of a sudden chip in offensively for the Lightning. 2 goals against Detroit, 3 in the last 5 games. So Gage Gonsalves, just when we think Tampa's finally got not as great depth up front, and then all of a sudden we're seeing guys like Connor Geekie and Gage Gonsalves step up for them. So that could be a little bit of a under-the-radar value goal prop, both of those guys for Tampa Bay tonight. All right, New Jersey Devils and Boston Bruins. We've got New Jersey minus 140, road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. I mean, the only thing I would look at here is probably over by Fecta. Boston is kind of one of those teams where defensively, we don't really trust them. This was 7-2, by the way, in New Jersey just 1 week ago in favor of the Boston Bruins. Flew over the total. New Jersey's just thinking ahead to the playoffs. In the old days, this would be a system play off a shutout loss for the New Jersey Devils. They got shut out by the New York Islanders on Sunday. It's Bruins are past because New Jersey's certainly showed us that they're looking forward to the playoffs. They've now lost 3 in a row. Bruins 7-2 at home, 4-2 at home to Pittsburgh, 1-0 shutout loss at home to the New York Islanders. Boston or pass for me in this game. And this is the final game and final home game for the Bruins. So I'm going to do more than just lean Boston. I'll take a small shot with them here, plus 120 in their home finale, split with the team total, and a little bit on the over by Fecta as well. Devils, Bruins, Alex, what do you think?
No, that's one we can wait for on the betcast, or otherwise I just see Boston next October. It's been that kind of a year betting them. So, this one we'll be waiting for later on tonight.
No doubt. So definitely looking toward live moves, Alex, if anything, here for this Devils and Bruins game. As far as the Devils go, the Bruins rather, not a ton right now that I can see as far as massive milestones needed. But Morgan Geekie has been great. Pasta's been great for Boston, even down the stretch with them out. So you could look in those directions. Does Fabian Lysell start to get going? He's on the second line. He finally got his first goal against Pittsburgh. The only goal that Boston scored in that game. So maybe, sometimes when you get that first goal, you start to feel it. The confidence starts to come back. So maybe Fabian Lysell here for Boston as a goal prop. And for New Jersey, Steph Nason's on the top line with Hischier and Bratt. Whether he scores, that's another question entirely. But certainly there's value on Steph Nason playing on that top line spot for the New Jersey Devils. All right, we move along here. Next up, we've got Washington Capitals, New York Islanders. Even money here, minus 110 both sides. Total here sitting at 6, shaded to the under. I like Islanders team total over. I do. Because Washington just keeps giving up 3 minimum to the opponent here. It's just this crazy streak. I'd rather take that than the Islanders money line. You can get Islanders team total over. You can get over 2.5 with juice, and I did lay minus 150. Or you could take over 3 at BetMGM, which has the half goal increments on the team total. You could take over 3 at close to even money with Islanders team total. Or you could wait till the live betcast. A few minutes pass by and you'll get probably over 2.5 on the Islanders at a better price. So you could go that direction as well. But talked about it how Washington's just looking ahead to the playoffs right now. They lose back-to-back games over the weekend to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, Columbus had a lot to play for, obviously, and the New York Islanders don't. That being said, the Islanders did beat the Devils 1-0. Like I said, we've talked about how now it's been 10 straight games, more than that now, allowing 3 goals to the opponent for the Washington Capitals. Islanders beat them, of course, 4-1 9 days ago on the day that Ovechkin broke the record, of course, at UBS Arena. And even we'll see if that carries over here. I will say this, the games in Long Island here between these teams, the Islanders have scored 9 goals in the last 2 times they've hosted the Capitals in those 2 games combined, and they have scored 5, 4, and 4 in the last 3 at dead meat. So I definitely like Islanders team total here in this game over. It's just a question of, does Washington show enough gusto here to help this game go over the full game total? Because I lean that direction, but we just saw Washington score 1 measly goal over the weekend against Columbus, and 1 goal or less in 3 of their last 4 games. So, that's the problem right now. Is Washington even emotionally invested enough to make a contribution offensively tonight in this game? That's what you have to ask yourself. So that's what's keeping me kind of muted when it comes to the first period over, full game over. I lean in those directions. Washington's been pretty good with the first period overs again lately. It is worth noting both Columbus games went over in the first period, but the second game in Washington died with the full game total because Washington stopped scoring and Columbus put their foot down defensively, and Jack Reeves played well. So first period over, I think I might get involved more with that than full game over, along with that Islanders team total over. Alex, Capitals, Islanders.
Yeah, 21-4 run to the first period over for the Washington Capitals, and you can get minus $1.20 right now at Caesars with that. So I'm all over that play. As far as that team total with the Islanders, you can get 3 flat at minus $1.10 at BetMGM. Maybe play that small and then wait for something better, 2.5 at a better price in game. So those are things I can kind of toy around with, but I'm definitely on this first period over, if nothing else. Like I said, even if the Caps don't show up, I could trust the Isles to get 2 in the first 20.
It is the last home game for the Isles. Multiple people asking. It is the last home game for them. And that's a reason, like I said, I don't know if I'm going to back a money line. Because the way I see it, if they're going to win, they're probably going to get to 3 goals in this game.
Right.
Because obviously Washington's on this, I think it's 11 or even 12 games in a row now. The Capitals have given up at least 3 goals to the opponent. So the team total is the better route, in my opinion, rather than the money line. Could always bet the money line if they fall behind, live on the. I don't know if I will, quite honestly, but it's something to consider on the betcast tonight. Because again, with Washington playing for exercise, locked into the number 1 seed in the East, and they're just waiting on whether they play Montreal or Columbus in the first round. They're not bringing a whole lot to the table. And for disappointing a season as it is for the Islanders, it's their last home game, and sometimes you do get a 1-game bump from them. I'll say this, they're probably Fade City, though, the Islanders, Thursday night at Columbus. Might even be Fade City even if Columbus is out Thursday night. Because the way I see it, Alex, if we just look ahead for a second to that Jackets-Islanders game in Columbus on Thursday night. Let's say Columbus is eliminated by then. Montreal clinches. I still think Columbus is going to put one hell of an effort out there in that final home game with the season it's been, the emotion of Johnny Gaudreau and all that, and with the definitely the leaps forward that franchise and that organization has taken, whether they make the playoffs or not. I think they show up for that finale against the Islanders.
No, I absolutely agree. Other teams, you maybe say, okay, that's it. They pack it up. They're already thinking about their vacation, and they lose that game 5-1. I don't see that happening from Columbus with the season they've had, with the coach that they have in Dean Everson. Yeah, they'll be fired up for that one, whether they're in it or not.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's basically what bottom line is. They're definitely going to be interested in the Jackets, regardless of whether they're still in the playoff conversation by Thursday night when they host the New York Islanders. As far as the milestones here, Anders Lee, he needs 1 goal to get to 30, so that makes a lot of sense here. If you believe in D'Angelo getting to 20 points, that makes sense as well for them going into this game. So there you go. There's a couple of milestones on the Islanders to be aware of. All right, Anaheim and Minnesota next up. This is one of the we got 3 games in a row to talk about that have to deal with this race for the last 2 wildcard spots in the Western Conference. Minnesota minus 270 home favorites here in this game, and the total 5.5, 6, depending on where you look. So make sure you shop around when it comes to the total. I love the draw here. Love it. Love it. I think Minnesota only needs 1 point. Minnesota never makes it freaking easy on themselves. You watch tonight, and even though Anaheim hurt me very much with that horrific third period against a shorthanded, resting people left and right Colorado team the other night, that really it made me upset that Anaheim couldn't find a way to hold on and win that game the other night again. I'm still thinking they come out here against Minnesota and try to play spoiler. Whether it's enough is the question, but Minnesota doesn't make it easy on themselves. How San Jose took them to overtime last week, that crazy game that finished 8-7 in favor of the Minnesota Wild. That was a game where they got Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek back from injury, and they still were life and death to beat the San Jose Sharks in that hockey game. So I definitely look at this as somehow, some way, the Wild are going to have to grind their way to victory tonight. I don't sense it coming easily. Rarely do they accomplish things easily, this Minnesota Wild team. So plus 360 on the draw. I like that price. Give me the draw. That's the only thing I have pregame. Alex, Anaheim, Minnesota.
Yeah, I did grab a little piece of that draw. I guess I got it at plus 360 was the price I got earlier today. And it's just predicated on, this feels like it could be one of those games where if it goes back and forth and the Ducks give it all they can, that it still just finds its way to overtime. And that'll just be kind of the end of the road. Potentially, I think somebody's going to be in a position to get crushed tonight. Either Minnesota loses this game in regulation and then the dominoes fall where Calgary can get in and push them out, or this game goes to OT, they get their spot, and then it's just madness between Blues and Calgary. So I did grab the draw. Other things I'll be looking to add pregame. And that was the thing I was trying to figure out. Do I really want to try and take Anaheim, here when I already have so much stacked against Minnesota making the playoffs? But because of this high number, there's not really much for me to bet on Minnesota to get any kind of value back in as far as the future. So I just have to look at just this game alone, and I'm taking the draw here.
Yeah, no doubt. So the draw definitely makes sense to me. I like that as far as this game goes. On the Anaheim side, Cutter Gauthier is with Leo Carlson and Alex Killorn. In fact, Gauthier and Carlson, I like both of them for props. I think there's great value. Sam Colangelo continues to be an underrated offensive player for Anaheim, and he's been chipping in again. So I wouldn't talk anyone out of that. On the Minnesota side of things, obviously, it's Kaprizov, Eriksson Ek, Boldy. That is a hell of a top line, especially when they've got it going. We'll see if they can get things going tonight here for this Minnesota team. By the way, Zeev Buyem, he is not going to make his Minnesota Wild debut here tonight in this game. Brodin, Faber, Middleton, Bogosian, Merrill, Spurgeon is going to be the sixth defenseman tonight. We will not be getting, and you know what? I think they realized, John Hines, let's get the playoff spot sewn up here, and we'll see how it goes. Jonathan likes the Wild team total over 3.5. Yeah, that's possible. We know Anaheim is not a shutdown defensive team by any stretch of the imagination, even though we like our guy Dostal, but Dostal doesn't always have the elite defense to help him out, on a night in and night out basis. So Dostal, by the way, and Gustafsson, as expected, going to be your goaltenders here tonight in this game. So that game is of major significance. Minnesota just needs 1 point, and they are in the playoffs. And so is this next game, Utah and St. Louis. We've got the St. Louis Blues minus 150 home favorites. The total 6 shaded to the under. Now for St. Louis, they need a win. They need 2 points out of this game to clinch a playoff spot. That's the difference between them and Minnesota. Can they get? It's the question. They certainly have Utah coming in on a back-to-back after a 7-3 thumping over Nashville last night in that game. We'll see how they fare here. It's very interesting that certainly from a Utah standpoint, they're coming here to play some spoiler. There's no doubt. Andre Tourigny saving the overworked, taxed, he's been starting this guy every single game, but finally gave him a rest last night on the front end of the back-to-back so that they could have Karel Vejmelka tonight to try to play spoiler against St. Louis. No doubt. That's what we saw. This is another draw for me because I do think Utah brings an effort. Are they good enough to win? Maybe, maybe not. St. Louis is leaking a little bit since that win streak got snapped, that great 12-game win streak. And suddenly, we see what's happened since then, for the Blues, on a little bit of a downturn suddenly. And the pressure's ratcheted up, and whether they're kind of the Montreal of the West right now, where they're, they had that incredible win streak. It was a physical and emotional, it takes a lot out of you when you're running on adrenaline like that. And they look like they've been a little bit leaking at the end here. Winnipeg loss, Edmonton loss, and then the Seattle loss, 4-3 in a shootout over the weekend. 3 straight losses after that incredible win streak for the St. Louis Blues. So I don't trust them here at minus 150 fully. I've made a lot of money with the Blues. I still think they're going to get in when it's all said and done. But I don't love what I'm seeing here these last few games by any stretch of the imagination. It is a big time, though, for, as Rich points out, rest advantage for St. Louis. They've had 2 days off. It's back-to-back, 3-4, 4-6, 5-8 for the Utah Hockey Club. I mean, they definitely have faced a brutally tough schedule as far as travel and games in a condensed period of time. And maybe that finally shows up and adds up for Utah here tonight, but not at minus 150. My goal, this is a great betcast game. We can get St. Louis at plus money if they fall behind. That's the goal. That's what we're looking at. Give me St. Louis at a plus price if they're trailing. I ain't laying minus 150 pregame. I'm only taking the draw pregame. Alex, Utah, St. Louis.
Yeah, draw pregame for me, but I laid $1.05 with St. Louis in regulation just off of the fact that if they do jump out to a big lead, go on and just grab that in my pocket now. This is one where, like I said, kind of playing the splits of averages. They need the points, so this could go into a draw. But I feel like St. Louis could get the win here because of the fact that you said St. Louis is Utah playing 5 in the last 8. They gave Amelka that rest, and now throwing him back in at the very end, I think this might be the time where we see him have kind of an odd start and give up some goals. So if St. Louis jumps out early, we have regulation in pocket. If this ends up tied, we'll suffer that, and we'll try and adjust and grab some more money in game, and then we'll already have draw in pocket as well. So it's a little bit of an odd way to play it. Usually wouldn't be doing side and draw split in regulation, but we're doing that just off of the sense that if this goes in OT, we can still come back and play St. Louis live on the money line. We have things to play with in the setup.
Absolutely. No question about that. As far as props tonight, Kyrou needs 2 points for 70. Robert Thomas needs 1 point for 80. Buchnevich is 1 away from 20 goals. Zach Bolduc, 2 away from 20 goals. So, yeah, Buchnevich and Bolduc props. I'm liking both of those here tonight quite a bit as well. And then on for the hockey club for Utah, Clayton Keller needs a goal for 30 and a point for 80 here in this game tonight. So, another milestone situation to look at as well. And I think there's one more for St. Louis I was eyeing. Let me just see. Other than Buchnevich and Bolduc. Actually, I wasn't. I'm Jimmy Snuggerud hasn't. I'm not chasing Jimmy Snuggerud props anymore. We'll let him step up and score a goal first, and then maybe we'll start backing him as far as goal props are concerned. But Jonathan's going back in one more time with Jimmy Snuggerud here. He is playing with Braden Shen and Jordan Kyrou. Like they're certainly giving him opportunity in the lineup to finally get that first NHL goal. We'll see if he's able to here tonight. Obviously, for the Blues, we would expect Jordan Binnington in net for them here tonight in this game, and it is confirmed that it is Binnington. It's Lindgren and Sorokin, by the way. Forgot to mention that for Washington and the New York Islanders. All right, Vegas Golden Knights and Calgary Flames. This is the other team in the mix for one of these final 2 wildcard playoff spots. Even money, minus 110, both sides, 5.5 the total in this game. But this line has moved. Vegas opened minus 135, road favorites. It's already moved significantly toward Calgary. And when you see the intentions of the Vegas Golden Knights going into this game, you know why. They are putting out a patchwork, shorthanded lineup tonight with obviously first in the Pacific wrapped up. And obviously resting some players. There's going to be no Alex Pietrangelo. There's going to be no Noah Hannafin, no Mark Stone, and no Jack Eichel here tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights. So that's 2 of their best defensemen and 2 of their best forwards right there as far as missing in action tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights. So, yeah, this is Calgary or pass. I already bet them early. Like I said, I got plus 115. I didn't get, plus 1 or not plus 1. I got plus 105. I didn't get plus 115. But I at least got a little better price than what's out there right now. I kind of sensed this coming, that Vegas was going to rest some people. Bruce Cassidy playing it safe. And look, Calgary, you wonder at some point they run out of gas because it's just been pedal to the metal and must win every night. But and they didn't start off well against San Jose, but they came back and they won. They had a great game against Minnesota before that. So, yeah, it's Calgary or pass. It's just a question of now do you want to take it at minus 110 when you could have gotten plus money earlier. But I'm on the Flames at plus 105. I still think you can take them, honestly, minus 110. I think they do find a way to win and at least keep their hopes alive and hope that they get the help they need from Anaheim and Utah in the other settings here tonight. Alex, Vegas, Calgary.
I saw the plus 105s that were and like I said, plus 110s that were floating around this morning, but I wanted to wait for official confirmation. So I was lucky enough to get minus 101 was the price I got at Bet Online. It was right at the beginning of the show. I was literally texting on my phone and sending out to everybody that I grabbed that. So now it has moved to $1.10. I still like it. like I said, it was just a matter of getting that confirmation. We can get burned by information sometimes. We're hearing rumblings of guys sitting out, and all of a sudden everybody's in the line. So I didn't want to get stuck with holding, even though I still like Calgary, regardless in the spot. Even if Vegas was playing everybody, I think Calgary at home, knowing they need this game, I think they go balls to the wall and get the victory regardless. But obviously, for price's sake, you want to try and get the better of the number. This is still within reason. Now, if it gets to 120, 125, of course, wait till the bet cast tonight. But I definitely think we see a good effort from Calgary here. Like I said, Vegas kind of maybe take this one a little easy, and that's going to help the Flames out.
No doubt. So that's definitely, yeah. As soon as you see that and Bruce Cassidy making the announcement, we're resting these guys, we're resting that. Aiden Hill's not starting either. It's Ilya Samsonov getting the start tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights. And, of course, our guy, Dustin, hungry like the wolf. Dustin Wolf once again for the Calgary Flames here in this game. And then as far as props go for this one, there are some props that I do like. Mostly Calgary props, because you're not sure what kind of emotional investment you're going to get from the Golden Knights. Although I will say I would maybe look at Carlson, if anybody, for them. But mostly Calgary props for me here in this game. And there are a couple. Matt Coronado, man, you got to keep taking him. He has been a sharpshooter. He has been a sniper lately for this Flames team. He's been rolling offensively for them, obviously chipping in the goals at a pretty good clip. So obviously looking in the direction of props involving Matt Coronado makes sense. And even more than that, look who's finally started to heat up a little bit here for the Calgary Flames of late. And Huberdeau and Kadri, it goes without saying, you could probably put them in a point parlay, Huberdeau and Kadri. I would be very surprised if they don't make an impact on the scoreboard, and you can get plus money on that. Backlund's been heating up. Coronado's been good. And even more than that, this is a guy that's now really starting to get it rolling. Igor Sharangovich for the Calgary Flames. 4 goals in the last 3 games for him. A 2-goal effort against San Jose. An incredible price that we're still getting with Sharangovich going into this game as well. Jonathan mentioning Klapka, who's been shooting the puck a lot more. It's not an insane thought that Klapka plus 550, could be worth a look. But Sharangovich, man, 4 goals in the last 3 games, and you can get upwards of plus 400 for him to score a goal. You got to take it. No question. All right, next up, we've got the final game of this Tuesday card. Los Angeles Kings, Seattle Kraken, LA minus 115, road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. So the Amazon Prime Monday Night Hockey post game went off the air following LA Edmonton last night. And about 5 minutes after that, I bet Seattle. And it was the very first bet I made for this Tuesday card. I like Seattle here. It makes all the sense in the world. LA's clinched home ice against Edmonton. Now it's all about looking ahead to playing the Oilers in the first round. There's nothing on the line for them. It's a very, very good fade spot here of the LA Kings tonight. Back-to-back, getting the job done in Edmonton last night. We don't know if Jim Hiller's going to rest people tonight, but it wouldn't shock me if he does. David Riddick confirmed in net. Joey Decord for Seattle. Seattle, very admirable performance against St. Louis, who needed that game badly against the Kraken the other night. Seattle beat them 4-3. It's the final game and final home game of the season for Seattle. So I think they want to show up, send these Climate Pledge Arena fans home with one last win to end the season, even though it's been a disappointing season overall. And I like the way they've played down the stretch for the most part, Seattle. They've shown a little pulse here in the last week or two of the season. So no-brainer to take this right away. And I figured the price would move, and it has a little bit. It's moved a little bit because LA was initially minus 135. This is closer to even money right now. But I still like it to bet it at this price, Seattle, for me. In fact, I'm going to double up here. A little smaller bet on the first period money line with Seattle as well, but more so on the full game. Kraken, I think they get it done. This is just let's get this game over with spot, in my opinion, for the LA Kings. Alex, what do you think here, LA, Seattle?
Yeah, overnight I grabbed plus 102 with Seattle, but I still like it at minus $1.05. Like I said, with the Kings, we got everything they all need. Just waiting for game 1 of round 1. So this looks like I said, Seattle, good chance to give the fans something to celebrate about what's been a bad year, in my opinion. I thought Seattle was going to come out with a lot more gusto throughout the year, but like I said, one more chance to give the fans a chance to go home happy. So Kraken money line. Oh, you muted. Ian, you're on mute.
There we go. Yeah, I thought too with Seattle it would be a better season for them than it's been. With Dan Bylsma making the transition from the American League affiliate Coachella Valley to this team, knowing so much about the player, I thought they'd just have a better season overall, and unfortunately, just didn't happen at this point in time. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. But I do think they send the home fans home happy here tonight with the win against LA in their finale. As far as props go for this game, yes, that's Beniers and Shane Wright is worth a look. Shane Wright obviously has had a pretty solid finish to his season right now for the Seattle Kraken, no doubt. Again, there's some milestone props for the Kings too, but like I said, who's going to be playing? Who's going to be on the ice for this game tonight is still a pretty big question when it's all said and done. But yeah, Jaden Schwartz needs 2 points for 40. Vince Dunn needs 2 points for 40. Jaden Schwartz needs 2 points for 50. Vince Dunn needs 2 points for 40. Beniers and Wright can get to 20 goals on the season by scoring a goal tonight. So I'm going to go for not just Shane Wright to score a goal and not just Matty Beniers to score a goal to get to 20. I'm going to parlay them. Yeah, for a big payout. Matty Beniers and Shane Wright goal, because they both need a goal tonight to get to 20, and the incentive bonuses kick in if that happens. So, yeah, Beniers and Wright for Seattle, and you can parlay them too. Worth a shot, no question about that. And again, we'll have to see if they're in the lineup. I agree with Jonathan's thinking with LaFerriere and Moore. They're sniffing around incentives as well for goal props tonight in this game. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. Great card. You know what? This betcast going into the week, I was like, well, what are we going to have to get excited about? Everything could be decided already. But we've got ourselves pretty intriguing night because Columbus is still alive. That game matters to them. Minnesota, St. Louis, and Calgary are all still alive for the final wild card spots in the West. So those games matter to them. So it's going to be a pretty fun betcast. So we definitely invite you to join us tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you join us. This is a free-for-all betcast tonight as well. So again, free-for-all tonight, 7 p.m. There it is, free-for-all. So make sure you join us tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. And again, DM or email me or Alex for a spot on the betcast. But very important to point out, this is our only free-for-all betcast in April. And we're only going to have one in May and one in June, free-for-all betcasts. The rest of them during the Stanley Cup playoffs will be reserved for our wonderful Patreon members who support this show and on the Patreon page. So make sure you get on board. If you want to be there with us for every single live betcast that we do during the Stanley Cup playoffs, that's your ticket to do it. $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys, goalie charts, totals charts, our daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. We're going to have some player suite interviews throughout the playoffs and the off season. And of course, as I mentioned, all the access to every live betcast that we do during the Stanley Cup playoffs by becoming a Patreon member. So make sure you sign up. $10 per month. Your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping us going. So make sure you sign up. $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You've got 3 days left to save 20% off all items in the store. Hit on the redeem button at the homepage, add all your items to the cart, and then at checkout, 20% will be taken out. So we've got specials all April long. You got 3 days left to save 20% off on all your orders right now. That's over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
There you go. We saw, obviously, Hawks and Habs last night go to overtime, cash the draw, and good day to rock this.
Yeah.
There you go. Draw
shirt.
season t-shirt, nice. Man. And I'm going to have it on tonight during the betcast. We've got a lot of draws going tonight. How can I not wear this on the betcast tonight?
Absolutely,
you know how many fucking we're shitting draws out of our ass tonight, these draw bets. So we got to wear this shirt tonight. We got draw bets left and right going on the Tuesday card. So one of many great items at the Ice Guys store. So make sure you check it out, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up in just a moment right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, And a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Hey, Ian, I got to tell you about this app I've been using lately called Kalshi. Kalshi.com. Did you know it's the only place where you can trade on March Madness in all 50 U.S. states?
I have heard about this, actually. Kalshi is the first and only legal prediction market that lets you trade on real-world events with the look and feel of stock trading, whether it's who will win elections, who will win the Grammy or Oscar awards, or what the price of Bitcoin will hit this year. You can bet you trade on just about anything on Kalshi.
With over 1 million users across all 50 states and over $1 billion worth of trades, Kalshi is an absolute game changer. And with March Madness coming to a close, baseball about to get in the full swing, playoffs on the horizon in hockey and basketball, now's the time to sign up to trade with Kalshi today.
Sign up at kalshi.com/iceguys, and the first 500 traders to join and trade 100 contracts, you will get a free $10 credit added to your account. So don't miss out on all the action. Join Kalshi today at kalshi.com/iceguys. That's kalshi.com/iceguys. Shout out to all our great sponsors, Boston Hemp Inc., 20% off using the promo code ICEGUYS at bostonhempinc.com, and Kalshi, kalshi.com/iceguys. Check out that great trading platform. All right, bargain bin special of the night for this Tuesday. Some good opportunities. There actually are some really good spots tonight for the bargain bin special segment. I found two that I'm going to rock with tonight. Alex, we'll start with you, bargain bin special.
I have two as well, and we will start with the first one. He's been arguably my bargain bin special MVP of the season. Cashed with him last night. He scored 11 goals this year, and I've probably cashed like 4 of these bargain bins with his goals. It's Frank Nazar, Chicago Blackhawks. You can get him anytime goal scorer plus 360 tonight against Ottawa. Said this kid has really developed into a sharpshooter. And I'm hoping that this is the beginning of a long progression and a long career for number 91 in the Hawks uniform, scoring goals like he's been doing. So Frank Nazar plus 360, that's my first bargain bin. And then we're going to go up the street to XL Energy Center for the second one. Anaheim flying in, taking on the Wild. Big game for Minnesota. But I'm looking at Frank Vetrano to get a goal. You can grab him right on the nose, plus 300 anytime goal scorer for the Anaheim Ducks, as they maybe look to spoil things for the Minnesota Wild. So going to a couple of Frankies here. Frank Nazar for the Hawks, Frank Vetrano for the Ducks. Those are my two bargain bin specials for this Tuesday night.
Two Frank the Tanks for the Alex B. Smith with the bargain bin special. Frank Vetrano for Anaheim, plus 300. And again, in that plus 375 range, Frank Nazar, who was terrific last night, once again, for the Chicago Blackhawks. And it's been one hell of a run for him of late. So two Franks for he's being Frank right now with you, Alex B. Smith, here on this Tuesday with the bargain bin special of the night segment. My bargain bin specials, we've got two as well. They're two of the games out west. Utah, St. Louis. Zachary Bolduc, we're going to give this guy another shot. Plus, it's a really good price on him, plus 300. Actually, I thought it would be more than that, but plus 300 right on the nose as well. With Zachary Bolduc for the St. Louis Blues. He's got milestones, I believe, 2 more from 20, if I'm not mistaken. So Zach Bolduc for St. Louis for my first bargain bin special. And my other one is Igor Sharangovich for Calgary. Plus 400. He is absolutely red hot on an absolute tear right now. 4 goals in the last 3 games for Igor Sharangovich. Plus 400. Great price. So Zach Bolduc plus 300, St. Louis. Igor Sharangovich, Calgary, plus 400 for my 2 bargain bin specials on this Tuesday night. All right, best bets to wrap up the show. Steph Fournier earlier in the show gave us Jackets and Islanders on the puck line earlier for his 2 best bets. Alex, your best bet.
Well, looking at one of those teams, the Islanders taking on the Caps. The Capitals been on that hot 21-4 first period overrun, but they've been struggling a bit late. Isles have been able to get some goals and get some momentum, especially at home. So we go that first period over, 1.5, minus $1.20 with the Caps and Isles. My Tuesday best bet.
There you go. I like it. Tuesday best bet for Alex B. Smith in this one. My best bet for this Tuesday card, we're going to go to that late game. It was the first bet I made on the Tuesday NHL card for a reason, because I do think it really is the best bet on the board. I think Seattle, they go out with a win. LA's clinched everything, home ice advantage, back-to-back as well. I think some guys will be rested. Not everybody, because you can't rest everybody. It's just impossible. But I wouldn't be surprised if some of the bigger guns like a Kempe or Kopitar don't play here tonight in this game. And even if they do, Seattle's more invested, in my opinion, in this game. Big time. Want to go out with a home win. Seattle, even after the price move, you can still get plus 100, even money on the Kraken. I think they get it done. Seattle for my best bet here for this Tuesday. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it. Betcast tonight, free for all, open to everybody. Make sure you join us, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Again, you can DM or email me or Alex for a spot on the Betcast. If you're able to join us later, we're looking forward to it. Our last regular season Betcast of the season. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith and our guest earlier, Stephen Fournier, thanks to him for joining us. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll see you in a few hours for the live Betcast, our regular season finale Betcast, and back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern for the Wednesday edition of the Ice Guys.